Hi, I'm Kevin Finch, director of Westbound, the genius of Wes Montgomery. And we're talking about a legend of his own today. That would be George Benson. George Benson is, for many people, the logical follow up to Wes Montgomery, the inheritor of Wes's brilliance, the next guy up to tell great stories with his guitar, but he could also tell great stories on his own. And that's what we have for you today. I can drop names, but George Benson has stories to go with names, like the time that he toured Europe with Thelonious Monk. That's one of the things that you're going to hear in this segment. And another is his comparison of John Coltrane and Wes Montgomery. That's a lot to take in. Let's take a look.
Montgomery's versatility was the thing that made him so popular, because you could record anything with him. Like that last record I showed you. Matter of fact, we have it. Man, gotta have that. Jimmy Smith and Wes Montgomery. The name of that album is Further Adventures. And the reason why they call it Further Adventures is because they had one out called The Adventures of Jimmy and Wes, their first album. This one had one of my favorite songs they ever did. It was called King of the Road. Man, did they tear that record up, tear that song up. It's one of my favorite recordings, man. And these are two of my favorite musicians of all time. They were both geniuses. And so I learned to play, listening to these records and what they were putting out, mostly attitude. They were playing music that was not repetitive. Every bar was different and was interesting. Because I'm the first cat to get bored. When I hear music, I get bored after about 30 seconds. Because the music doesn't move me. If it doesn't go anywhere, if it's not heading in a direction that says, oh, wait till you hear what I'm going to do next. Have you heard this lately? Watch this. I'm going to kill you over here. That's the way I listen to music. After hearing Charlie Parker, Art Tatum, and people like that. And Thelonious Monk. I used to open for Thelonious Monk. Every bar was like a knockout. I didn't think he was so great until I went to Europe with him. He walked out on the bandstand, standing ovation. He played, his first solo was about, I don't know, 40 bars. When he got finished, everybody in the audience leaped, first starting with me, from backstage. I leaped it. I know they don't understand what he's playing, so I'm going to get him. Yes, they did. He reached them, knocked them off their socks. That's where it was with your dad and John Coltrane. They were very good friends. They understood each other, I think, very well. But Montgomery's contribution cannot be measured in our lifetime. It's too short, too close. It'll be a long time till we figure out his impact on what we're experiencing now. He already has done me favors light years before I even imagined what it was going to be. But when they asked me if I would substitute for him, I said, you got to be kidding me, man. Do you know anybody else who can do that? You better get him, because I'm not going to try to do that. Plus, he was my friend. I didn't want to dishonor his legacy. So, and it's not to discredit anybody else, don't get me wrong, because he recognized other cats. When he knew the cats knew what they were doing and they were saying something, he'd be the first one to admit it and say, George, have you heard this guy? Have you heard that? I said, yeah, what's he doing here? And constructive criticism. That's how I learned, by listening to people who understood what it was that was going on. So he helped me out. And I didn't mind, when I sat down to listen to him play, I didn't go to play with him, because nobody could do that. And I mean nobody. I'm thinking about, cats be talking about, yeah, I always had a thing I was going to jam with Wes. I said, on what planet was that? Man, forget that, man. If you want to learn something, you don't jump on the stage. You sit back and you listen. That's how you learn, like in school. And he showed me about me sitting back, allowing me to come into place, and he would make me sit in and play with him. And I'd say, I can't do that, man. He said, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, my friend's in the house. He's going to play. I said, no, man. No. And he said, yeah, he's coming on up here. Come on up and play some. And Harold Mayburn would lay down some law on the piano and inspire me. And I said, I feel good. Maybe Wes is right. Maybe I will turn out to be a guitar player one day, you know. So it takes that kind of mentality and that kind of interest in other people to get us to get up off the ground and do something for ourselves. It ain't trying to instruct every bar because we think different. So Montgomery came out and he answered the questions that we all didn't know was possible. You can back these cats up. You can play behind Miles Davis and John Coltrane and Freddie Hubbard. Just got to know what it is. Stay out of their way and stay relevant and stay out of their way at the same time. In Europe, if you're a jazz musician in France, you're worshipped. When they hear you play it, brother, they never start jumping up and down. And I used to cut simple tunes. They were gigantic in France. Yeah. One of my biggest critics and one of my best friends, not one of the critics from the critical point of view, but was a guy named Hugh Panassi. He was the Leonard Feather, if you know who Leonard Feather was, the top jazz critic in the United States. Hugh Panassi was the top jazz critic in France. And he introduced me to the French audience. When he did, he pointed to all of the things that he thought the contributions that I would make in the long run. And he wasn't far off. We went light years beyond that. And here's the thing that says it all. When I first went to France with Jack McDuff, we played at a jazz festival on the French Riviera. The star of the show was Lionel Hampton. You tell you how far back it goes? That goes way back. 1963 or 64.
Did you pick up on that enthusiasm? I mean, George Benson likes to talk about Wes Montgomery, likes to talk about the musicians that were at the top of their game when he was just entering that game. It's funny how a lot of musicians who've been around for a while establish themselves, gold or platinum records and awards, that sort of thing. They really don't like to talk about themselves, but they love to talk about their heroes, and that's why this interview with George Benson was so much fun to be involved with. Hope you enjoyed it. If you liked what you saw, please hit the subscribe button, and we hope to see you again on Further Westbound.